Hey you, yes you, have you ever wondered what aggregate demand is? Well, the Government of Ontario is here to help. Aggregate demand is the total demand for goods or services in an economy. But how is it calculated? Great question. Well, that's easy. It's the same calculation as GDP, meaning consumer expenditure plus gross investment plus government expenditures plus net exports. Here's what it looks like on a graph. But why does it slope downward? Well, the first reason for this is that at a lower price level, more people and more consumers are going to purchase goods or services. As well, at a lower price level, interest rates fall, which increases aggregate demand. And finally, at a lower price level, exports are more competitive than imports, which leads to an increased aggregate demand. Now, you must be asking yourself, can aggregate demand change? Well, of course it can. What's important to understand is that there's changes along the curve and within the curve. The first factor resulting in a shift along the curve is the wealth effect, stating that as prices increase, those who are wealthy feel less wealthy, and vice versa. Therefore, this affects aggregate demand respectively.
Next is the international substitution effect. If the price levels in a country rise, an increase will imports occur since foreign goods are cheaper to buy for that country. This will overall decrease the aggregate demand along the curve for that country.
In the interest rate effect, low prices will encourage consumer savings, which drive down interest rates. With low interest rates, the demand for investments decreases as well. Therefore, this increases aggregate demand in an economy.
Now, we're going to look at shifts within the aggregate demand curve, either shifting right or left. The first factor causing a shift in the aggregate demand curve is government policy. This can be done expansionary or contractionary. Either way is done to either shift the aggregate demand curve left or right.
If businesses and households are optimistic that future profits, prices, or income will increase, it is likely to lead to higher aggregate demand or vice versa.
For example, when President Donald Trump was elected, many investors pulled out of the economy because the expectation was that the economy would decline. Therefore, aggregate demand shifted to the left.
The next factor is exchange rate. If the value of a currency goes down, then the exports in that country will increase, since it's cheaper for other countries to buy from them. Therefore, aggregate demand will shift right. Similarly, an increase in foreign incomes will mean people have more money to buy things from Canada, therefore shifting the Canadian aggregate demand curve to the right.
What are some benefits of aggregate demand? One of them is that it's a good indicator of economic growth or decline. As well, it indicates a nation's price level.
With this in mind, aggregate demand has its limitations as well, since the GDP formula is very complex and involves lots of data collection and statistics. The GDP can sometimes be flawed, therefore giving a false representation of the economy as a whole.
This message was brought to you by the Government of Ontario.
Created using Powtoon.